Hey there, people. As we move into a new month, which people are already dubbing Awful April, people on lower incomes, the unemployed and disabled, continue to feel the grim pinch of austerity. Prime Minister Keir Starmer and Chancellor of the Exchequer Rachel Reeves have been jumping through hoops to try and convince the groups I just mentioned that they'll actually be better off following last week's spring statement. However, their all words and no substance approach to improving people's lives hasn't worked as well as they'd liked. Well, it hasn't worked at all, if I'm being perfectly honest. I recently pointed this out to the Chancellor on social media after she, or whichever poor soul has the task of posting on her behalf, overconfidently declared that their policies will bring more financial security and put money in your pocket. Alas, the very next day, when I opened Twitter, I was met with this notification, a community note, which completely debunks her claim and points out that people would be £500 worse off than they were already. As you can see here, water is up by £10 a month in England and Wales with variable rates and 10% in Scotland. Energy is up £111 a year to £1,849 for typical households in England, Wales and Scotland. Council tax is also up by just under 5% in England, 4.5% to 9.5% in Wales, and at least 8% in Scotland, which varies on region. TV licences are up to £174.50 per year. All Scottish rail fares are up by 3.8%. After fares in England and Wales went up by 4.6% last month. Mobile and broadband. For those on inflation-linked contracts, broadband prices will see an average rise of £21.99 per year, with some newer plans seeing increases of up to £42 a year. Mobile users will face similar increases, with an average rise of £15.90 for inflation-linked contracts, up to £48 for newer deals. The stamp duty land tax holiday ends. The 0% tax rate threshold will drop from 250k to 125k, or from 425k to 300k for first-time buyers. So with all of that, plus inflation on top, it really doesn't seem like people have got more money in their pocket, does it, Rachel? Now, let's take a look back at what the Prime Minister said this time last year, when he was still in opposition, and compare his words with the latest stats on bills, which in this video he pledged to freeze. In his appearance on Jeremy Vine, in which he was speaking to Ella, who's a single mother from Sunderland.
Your circumstances, but I doubt when you hear, the energy companies and the government talking about £3,500 possibly for energy bills going up to £4,000. I suspect, like many, many other people, you shudder at that because these are huge, huge amounts of money, which is why we say under a Labour government we'd freeze those prices. We wouldn't allow them to go up, Ella. I said we wouldn't allow them to go up, Ella. I said we wouldn't allow them to go up.
That is one big pile of shit.
Because what you're already paying is going to go through the roof, and I don't know how you would cope with that, Ella.
Full-time, term time, because I've got a young child.
Yeah.
So I don't get paid that much.
Thank you, Ella. And it is just a reminder. I mean, I know politicians meet their constituents; they know this, but this whole country's hurting at the moment.
Oh,
and whether this might be too big for you or any party to sort out.
Yeah. Look, I mean,
in national government,
in terms of how it's impacting on people, obviously, part of my job is to be around the country the whole time to talk to people. And
No, that's not true. That's more lies. Even in opposition, he avoided crowds and talking to the public. The only time he did publicity videos were with a handful of pre-selected Labour members in very controlled circumstances. He's about as much of a people person as a hermit living in the South Pole.
Everybody's talking about this because they're really, really worried. I also, when I was growing up, my dad was a toolmaker, worked in a factory, my mum was a nurse.
Get on with it!
We didn't have huge amounts of money, and I remember struggling with the bills and the telephone being cut off and things like that. So I know firsthand what it feels like to sit around the kitchen table and say, look, we just can't actually pay all this.
I ain't fucking buying that.
I do not believe for one fleeting moment that a factory owner, as his father actually was, had to struggle to make ends meet and fretted over the family's telephone and utility bills. People who actually have to do that generally don't end up having kids who go on to become members of the Queen's Council before becoming Prime Minister. That's a patent lie from Starmer, who makes 6 figures a year himself and can't possibly empathise with a single mother going from paycheck to paycheck.
And I know that millions of people are in that state of mind at the moment. They're worried sick. That's why I thought it was very important for us to have a very clear, simple policy. We'll freeze your bills. We won't allow that to happen. And we'll get oil and gas companies from their excess profits to pay for that freezing of the bills.
That also hasn't happened. In fact, the opposite. The cost has been passed on to consumers, and he's also stopped electric vehicles being exempt from tax just to pile it on even further. And rather than moving away from fossil fuels, he said that they'll be needed for decades to come.
Simple, it's straightforward, it's a political choice. I think it's right that we do something about it because we can't just keep walking past this problem.
Well, they have walked past the problem and are sticking two fingers up at it as they do so. Starmer's also been harping on about the increase in the minimum wage, which comes into effect this month. It goes up to £12.21, yet 6 years ago, when Labour were led by an actual socialist, he was in front of the press campaigning for £15 per hour. So, now that he's leader of the party in office, and with prices even higher than they were back then, why has he not even matched that pledge? I'm asking rhetorically, of course. We all know that he's a proven liar and a careerist and will say anything to try and slime his way up the political ladder. He's always been an establishmentarian and a Tory in disguise, put into Labour to undermine it from the inside by the likes of Tony Blair and close friend of Jeffrey Epstein, Mr. Peter Mandelson. And another thing, while I'm on that topic,
we apologise for the interruption of this broadcast while Lefty goes off on a tangent. He's been given a cup of tea and will be back with you shortly. In the meantime, make sure you've hit the thumbs up button and left a comment down below. Thank you for your patience.
and even when Labour came second in 2019, Corbyn still got millions of votes, more than Starmer or Blair did. So, where was I? Yes, please let me know if you've been affected by Labour's fiscal policies. Are you feeling better off? Or are you feeling like Starmer and Reeves are continuing to screw you over?
See this? This is us.
Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe and thumbs up buttons to help us out on the algorithm. You can now join the channel with a membership for just 99p with some great perks for you to enjoy, including exclusive content and early viewings, plus lots more. And you get to join the list of awesome people who support the channel that you can see on your screen right now. Hit the join button or follow the links in the channel description. If you'd like to make a one-off contribution, then please hit super thanks on the video or follow the link to our Buy Me a Coffee page where you can help to show solidarity and support the channel for just the price of a tasty hot beverage. All contributions are greatly appreciated. Thanks again everyone. My left eye will be seeing you soon.